inform you on the effects of caffeine and what it does to your body. How many of you drink pop, tea, coffee, or energy drinks? Well, I'm sure many of you know how bad it can be if you take in too many of these things. I personally don't drink any of these things, but my older brother does, and I know how anxious and irritable he can get when he doesn't get his coffee right in the morning. I'm going to go through how it affects your body and how much is not good to drink. Caffeine is present in many drinks and foods and can make a huge difference in somebody's physical or mental state, depending on how much they take in. Caffeine is a stimulant that causes changes in the nervous system. Caffeine is a drug that makes you more alert and awake. Many people need caffeine right when they wake up in the morning in order to make it through the day. Coffee is the #1 main source of caffeine in the morning. Taking in too much caffeine a day can have negative effects, and your best defense is just knowing how much you take in. Many teens and young adults are at risk for taking in too much caffeine found in many energy drinks. Some medicines for migraines also contain levels of caffeine. So how does this affect your body? Whether caffeine is consumed in food or medicine, it changes the way your brain and body works, and it changes how you act and feel. Caffeine is a central nervous system stimulant, according to the FDA. As you may know, the CNS is composed of your brain, spinal cord, and other nerves. Some common side effects that may occur when you take too much caffeine are you feel shaky and jittery, and you can't concentrate, your blood pressure increases, your heart beats much faster, and you have trouble falling asleep at night, according to Mayo Clinic. The more serious ones might be extreme anxiety, with some people explain it being like having a heart attack, and dehydration, and a really rare one might be seizures, but not too many people experience them. Caffeine has a 6-hour half-life, which basically means it has 24 hours until it's out of your system. Example would be if you wake up in the morning and have coffee at 8 a.m., 25% of that caffeine will still be in your body at 8 p.m. And this is a huge reason why people can't fall asleep at night. So if you're trying to cut back on caffeine or just want to get a good night's sleep, try not to take caffeine like 4 or 5 hours before you go to sleep in advance. Or if you're just trying to cut back and not have caffeine at all, try to have half of what you're drinking. After you do fall asleep, caffeine still continues to disrupt your sleep, reducing rapid eye movement. This is when your body is in the deepest sleep, according to Forbes. So basically what happens is when you wake up in the morning, your body wants more caffeine, and the more addicted you are, the more your body's going to crave it. Well, now you're probably asking yourself, how much is too much caffeine? According to WebMD, the average adult takes in about 200 milligrams a day, which is about 2 5-ounce cups of coffee, and this is equivalent to 4 sodas. When comparing sodas like Mountain Dew, Coke, Pepsi, they are roughly around 50 to 60 milligrams. Coffee can range anywhere from 75 to over 250, just depending on where you're getting your coffee from and what's the size of the coffee. Now, energy drinks like Monster, Rockstar, and Red Bull for a 16-ounce can are 160 milligrams of caffeine. Now, someone who drinks like 3 or 4 of these a day should be really concerned because each of these energy drinks contain different levels of caffeine. And if you're drinking one that has the highest level of caffeine, it can be really dangerous to you. So you don't want to overindulge in these. So if you are someone who drinks, 3 or 4 of these, you should be really concerned and you try to keep track of how much you're drinking a day. So looking at all the amounts of caffeine in these drinks, you can see how easily it is to take in too much caffeine on a daily basis. And this doesn't even include foods such as chocolates and ice creams, which contain different levels of caffeine, depending on what you're eating. In conclusion, as you can see, the caffeine amounts vary in different kinds of drinks. You want to make sure you're always watching how much you drink and also just read the nutrition facts. There's no problem with having caffeine when you wake up or just having it in the midday if you're sluggish or tired. Just make sure you keep on track of how much you have. I hope I just told you today will be helpful to you and to your health.